Let me ask you something. You get a tip from a friend. He says, put some money in this stock. It's going to go up. You think about it. Maybe you even look it up. The chart looks good. The company sounds solid. And you think, okay, maybe. But then, another part of your brain kicks in. The part that remembers that guy at work who lost half his savings last year. The part that thinks, this sounds exactly like a casino. You put money in, you spin the wheel, and either you get lucky or you don't. So you do nothing, you keep your money in a savings account that earns almost nothing, and somewhere in the back of your mind you tell yourself, at least I'm not gambling. Here's the problem with that logic. That feeling, the one that says the stock market is just a dressed-up casino, is one of the most expensive feelings a person can have. Because it's not wrong that the stock market can feel like gambling, it's wrong that feeling like gambling makes it gambling. And today we're going to break down exactly why that feeling exists. Think about the last time you checked a stock price. Maybe it was a company everyone was talking about. You watched it go up 3 days in a row and felt a tiny rush of excitement. Then it dropped. And that drop felt personal, like something had been taken from you. That emotional experience is almost identical to what people feel at a roulette table. You place a bet. The wheel spins. Your heart rate goes up. You either win or you lose. And our brains are not wired to tell the difference. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called pattern recognition bias. Our brains evolved to find patterns, even when there aren't any. If a stock goes up 5 days in a row, our brain whispers, there's a pattern here. Something is happening. When really 5 good days in a row can happen completely randomly. This is the same reason people think they're on a hot streak at a card table. The brain sees a pattern. The brain wants to believe the pattern means something. The brain is wrong. So, when people look at the stock market and feel like they're watching a slot machine, they're not entirely wrong about the feeling. They're just wrong about what it means. Let's actually look at what gambling is. And I mean really look at it. When you sit down at a blackjack table, the house has an edge. That means over thousands of hands, the casino will always win more than it loses. You might get lucky tonight. You might win big. But if you play long enough, the math guarantees you'll lose. There is no version of blackjack where patience and time work in your favor. Now, let's look at what actually happens when you invest in something like an index fund, which is basically a basket of the biggest, most established companies in the country. Over the last 100 years, the US stock market has returned an average of about 10% per year. Not every year. Some years it's down 30%. Some years it's up 25%. But across time, across decades, the direction has been overwhelmingly upward. Here's the key difference. In gambling, time is your enemy. The longer you play, the more the house edge grinds you down. In investing, time is your greatest asset. The longer you stay in, the more the odds work in your favor. Think about it this way. Imagine you and a friend both flip a coin. Heads you win $1, tails you lose $1. That's gambling. There's no edge either way. Time doesn't help you. Now, imagine a different game. Every year, there's a 70% chance you gain money and a 30% chance you lose some. And every time you gain, you keep those gains and they start earning more gains on top of them. That's not a casino. That's a compounding machine. And that's closer to what long-term investing actually is. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because if investing and gambling are so different, why do so many people still treat the market like a slot machine? The answer is behavior. Specifically, the gap between how investing works and how people actually use it. When someone buys a single stock because their brother-in-law said it was going to double, that's closer to gambling. When someone checks their portfolio 17 times a day and panic sells every time it drops, that's closer to gambling. When someone puts money into one hot sector because they read a headline about it, that's closer to gambling. The stock market itself is not a casino, but it has a casino floor inside it, and most people accidentally spend all their time there. There's a concept in behavioral finance called loss aversion. It was discovered by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, and it tells us something uncomfortable. Losing $100 feels roughly twice as painful as gaining $100 feels good. This means your brain is hardwired to feel your losses twice as hard as your wins, which means when the market drops and your portfolio goes red, your brain is screaming at you to do something, to get out, to stop the pain. And that's exactly the opposite of what actually works. The investors who build wealth are not the ones who are best at predicting what the market will do next week. They're the ones who are best at ignoring how the market makes them feel. Warren Buffett once said that the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. And that's not just a nice quote. It's literally how the math works. When people panic sell during a crash, someone calm is buying their shares at a discount. When those shares recover, and historically they always have, the calm person wins, and the panicked person is left with regret. So, what does this mean for you, practically? It means the question is not whether to invest. The question is whether to invest like a gambler or like an owner. A gambler is looking for a win. An owner is buying a piece of something real. Real businesses, real products, real people going to work every day and generating value. When you buy an index fund, you're not betting on a number going up. You're buying a tiny ownership stake in hundreds of companies. You own a sliver of the companies that make your phone, the platform you're watching this on, the coffee chain on every corner, the bank where you keep your money. You are literally buying ownership of the economy itself. And the economy, over time, grows. It always has. It goes through recessions and crashes and crises, but it grows, and as an owner, you grow with it. Here's a simple thing you can do differently starting right now. Stop watching short-term price movements. A stock going up or down today tells you almost nothing about what it will do over 10 years. Checking your portfolio every day is the financial equivalent of pulling up a plant to check if the roots are growing. You're not helping anything. You're just creating anxiety. Instead, think in decades. If you put money into a broad index fund and check it again in 20 years, the overwhelming historical probability is that it will be worth significantly more. Not because someone got lucky, but because the businesses inside that fund kept doing business, kept hiring people, selling products, expanding, and generating real value. That's not gambling. That's the opposite of gambling. Here's what I want you to take away from this. The feeling that the stock market is like gambling is real. It's not irrational. It's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, looking for patterns, reacting to risk, protecting you from loss. But that feeling is not a map of reality. It's a map of your psychology. The market feels like gambling when you zoom in close, when you watch daily prices, when you chase hot stocks, when you let fear and excitement make your decisions. Zoom in close enough to any system, and it looks random. But zoom out. Look at decades, not days, and a completely different picture emerges. Gambling gets less safe the longer you play. Investing in broad markets has historically gotten safer the longer you stay in. That's not a slogan, that's math. So the next time you feel that pull, that voice that says, this is just gambling, ask yourself, am I thinking in days or decades? Am I reacting to price or investing in value? Am I on the casino floor, or am I the person who quietly owns a piece of it? Because one of those things keeps you poor, and the other one quietly builds your wealth while you sleep.